I help you?
Yes, I'm here to pay a fine. We had a outdoor church service,
Okay.
and I'm here to pay the fine for that, the 65,000.
Okay. I will have to find.
And I'm sorry, the due date is tomorrow, but you're closed tomorrow, right? So that's
Yeah.
why I thought I'd just be a day early to make sure.
Okay, let me just go grab the file, okay?
Okay, thank you.
That good?
That's fine.
And I'll give you a receipt too.
Thank you.
That's yours.
Thank you.
And there you go.
Thank you kindly.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Whereas Canada is founded upon the principles that recognize the supremacy of God. Here we are in Canada. I just came back from the Ontario Provincial Court of Offences, I believe it is called, and paid my ticket for having an outdoor church service. $65,005. This is on top of what we paid earlier for $274,500. It's hard to believe that this is actually happening in Canada. This was during the COVID time when they fined us for having an outdoor church service. Canada is the country that invites people from all over the world that are suffering from religious persecution, telling them, come to Canada, here you will find a safe haven. And yet, in the last few years, we saw that it was the exact opposite. We saw that where pastors were dragged along the highway, pastors were jailed, pastors were fined, like in my case. And here we are 4 years later. We all recognize now, we all realize, the whole thing was a lie. We complied at first, believing that the government had our best in mind. And here we are now, looking back, realizing that it was nothing but a lie. But we are here this morning to let the world and Canada, let them know that we stood for what was right. We stood what the Bill of Rights provides for us, what the Charter tells us. We stood on what the Word of God, which is most of all, we stood on what the Word of God is telling us. We don't regret the stand that we took. Yes, we paid $65,000 for an outdoor service, but I am glad that we can look back and see that we were there for the people when they needed us the most. We were there for them. Unfortunately, our justice system in this country, when we needed them the most, they failed us. Not one time would they stand up for Canadians, stand up for our Constitution, stand up for our God-given right. Not only that, but we were doing what the Bible commands us to do, not to forsake the assembling of ourselves. The church must gather. It is important in times like these that we stand. You know, we inspired the truckers inspired us, the truckers inspired the farmers inspired us, we inspired the farmers. The human family came together, stood together, and the governments, as corrupt as they are, they recognized they had to see what happens when the human family comes together and stands together. The only reason we were fined $274,500 and the only reason we were fined an additional $65,000 was because we had a church service at our own property, which the Constitution, which the Charter, the Bill of Rights allows us. We were fined for that. But I've said often before, and I'll say again this morning, if my faith is not worth dying for, it is not worth living for. You know, at one point I offered, as the government was deciding how much they were going to charge me for this outdoor service, I offered them, I said, look, I asked them, I said, what are you fining me for? They said, for the damage, for the hurt that you have done to the community. I said, if that is the case, if I have hurt the community, I said, instead of me paying the $65,000 fine for an outdoor service, I said, I am actually willing. I will offer you, give me 1 year, and I will pay $75,000 to the local food bank right in our community. But for some odd reason, that was not possible. So I'll leave it up to you to decide. What was it? Was it that I hurt their narrative, or did I hurt the community? We all know what the truth is. I am encouraged, determined to stand here as long as God gives me breath. Like I said, we've got to stand for our faith, and even if it means paying $65,000 or $274,500, and I want to take this opportunity. Almost 50% of this $65,000 came in from supporters all across this world. Thank you so very much for standing with us. Thank you for your support. It means the world to us. We are glad for this opportunity, for the little that we can do in this our time. The people that went before us, the pioneers, the people that stood for their faith, that died for their faith, whether it was burning at the stake or thrown before the lions, in comparison, this isn't a whole lot. May God help us to take this, to do this. I have no bitterness in my heart. I have no unforgiveness. But I'll say this, I am praying this morning that wherever this money goes that I just paid, that it would burn in the pockets of those that shouldn't have it. And I'm hoping that as soon as they return it, that we can erect a monument, figuratively speaking, and standing with those people that are being persecuted, stand together and stand for the eternal Word of God. God bless you.